Hello, my name is James Derek Thompson. I'm a Berea College computer science major. Okay, so I'm going to show you a demonstration of what my software does. First off, you're going to have WAMP server installed, and you're going to have to double click that. I've already got it up, so I'm actually going to show you what I have here. I go to the www directory, and these are a list of all the files that I use. There are some that I don't use at all, but there are a lot of them that are here. And now I'm going to show you the back end of the code. Okay. Alright. So what we have here is my username and password, and this is what the user will use so they can actually log into the software. So as you can see, it's got the text for the username and then the password, and it's got the password here, and it's required. So if you don't actually input the password, you're not allowed to get on it. And then there's just the button that you can click enter, and it takes you to PHP Connect. And this is these two lines right here is what allows it to connect to the database without any issue. And this right here is actually really important for connecting to my queries. And this is just a PDO file, and it is that stands for PHP data objects. And this just basically takes me to the next thing, which is options.php. Okay, so over here, what the user can do is that they can oh boy, damn. Okay, so this is my options file, and what happens here is the user is allowed to type in what they want. This asks what would you like to look for. So it's a text box, and they basically will put in the information they're looking for, and then they'll click submit. And these are just true login, and these are just other buttons that you'll see. Like if you don't want to search for something, you can add it to the inventory, you can log out. But let's move on to search.php. So this one is okay. So if you search for something, like if the search box is basically blank, it'll say you didn't search for anything. This checks to see if there is something, like when you click the enter button, this S post stands for that value, like something was, you actually did press that button because it takes you to this page, and this just checks to make sure that there is something inside of that. So what we have here is it makes a query and it prepares it. It says, and this is SQL, and it selects anything from items where name is equal to part name. Okay. So, and then we have part name, and it's set to whatever was inside of search. And then we execute the query here, and it gives us the results. So, what here we have the temp var, and this is very important. This right here is very important for if you have an item with the same name, because otherwise, if you don't have that temp var, then you won't actually get that first item. You'll get the last one in the list. Okay, so if there's nothing in row, then there's no results. So that happens if there's actually, when you search for something and it's not actually in the database. So right here we have, this is for the temp var, we set it as row, and while there's actually something in row, we fetch it. If temp var is not empty, then we create the table format, so that way you're able to have an organization and it's not just weird, displayed weird on the web page itself. And this link right here, this takes us to the next thing, which is item options. But this also allows us to take these specific things, name, detail, amount, and ID, and it lets us take it to another page as for the hyperlink. And this right here is just some HTML within PHP. These variables right here, this is PHP, and this echo is as well. So this is the PHP information that we have. And let me see here. And this is the exact same, it's just using row, because this is actually, temp var is for the first whatever's in the list, but row is for everything afterwards. That's the only difference. So they're exactly the same. Okay, so this is the next thing. This is the item options.php. So what we have here from the original search, what I had was when you had this dot row name and then dot row detail, all of this right here beside link. When you go to item options and you type in this echo, and then you have this sget. This actually takes what you put over in search. These variables right here, they're just there to help transfer the data over from one page to the next. And this is what happens. And when I want to get those variables, so I say, $ get name, and I'm actually able to see that on the actual web page. So it's like, this is the item that you're looking for. This is its own web page. And below it right here we have the delete link, and this is for the actual deleting the item from outside of the deleting the item from the database. I'm still currently working on this. This is something new that I discovered, so I was trying to work with that. Below here, updating items. It's very similar to deleting the items. Similar issues that I'm still working out, and this just searching for a new item, and this just logs you out. Okay, so we're going to move on. This is the adding to the database, and this basically right here says add to the database, and it just tells the user to type in what they want, the name of the item, the name of the amount, and a small description, and then you basically click this button that says add to database, and it takes you to the add to database PHP, where it has a query, MySQL, prepare, and it makes an insert statement. And then when this is done executing, I can echo this out, and everything works without any problems. Okay, and these are the new things I'm working on. This is my delete item PHP file. So this is the original website, or this is what I kind of got for a little bit of inspiration for this. Currently it's delete from items right here, as you can see. And I tried execute, and that was giving me some issues, and I even tried this one. It's called exec, and I looked at it and it looked like it was the same thing. Now when I actually run the code, and I'll show it to you, it will display the item that I'm looking for, but it actually will not delete it, so that's really strange. But we'll move on. This is updating items to HTML, and this is just basically please type in the item, type in the amount you want to add. I didn't add subtracting just yet, but that's what that page is for. And I'm still working with some of the kinks out with that. It's similar to the deleting problem. Once I figure out what's wrong with that, I can move on to here. Alright, and that is all of the code itself. Okay, so this is actually what the user will see when they first go to this local host /true-login.html. So right now it accepts just about anything you can type in, and then you'll just search for something. So let's go with LED, for instance. It's in the database. Click search. Okay, so you have just the name, and it's just really generic, but it gets the job done, and you just click one of these. We'll click the second one. So it shows, I guess I could add that to it, but it just shows the LED, the amount that in it, and this is just me just throwing another thing in it, but this would be the description. And currently I was working on delete item. I can click it right now. See, now this is what happens. It actually shows the SQL right here. But it actually recognizes this, and I use the get statement, so it actually recognizes this is the item, but it wouldn't actually delete it. So I don't know what's wrong with that. I'll look into that. This one is still being worked on, so it's similar to this, but it doesn't have as much worked on it. Search new item just takes you back to that. Let's see, and log out just takes you back there. And the only other thing I can show you is this: add new item to inventory. And this actually works. You can type in whatever you want, and you submit it, and it'll be inside the database itself. Okay. All right. This is the last thing I want to show you. So this is my database browser for SQLite. That's what it looks like as a icon that you can click. So right here, I have two tables right now in my database here. So the users, that's basically, it doesn't have much in it because that's more for like security purposes when I decide to implement the security for that, because that would let you know if that user has access to the database, if they're allowed to do anything. And this is items. This is where a lot of my stuff's going. So we have the columns ID, name, amount, and detail. And you got the integer for the ID, text for the name, integer for the amount, and text for the detail. Let's go ahead and browse that, and this is just shows some things that are in there. So you have the IDs, the names, and this was me testing this button. And this was me testing what would happen if an item had the same name. Just random values. And, these three were actually used as like using the detail for the database, but this is just random stuff I was working with to test it out, and that is it.